Hello everyone, Stepme2009 here, and welcome to part 4 of Thomas and Friends What Ifs, where I go through your comments and give you my thoughts. Damien Hendricks asked, what if Duck was a member of the STEAM team, and Oliver was a major supporting character in the hit era? The whole point of Duck not being in the STEAM team was so that was space for a female character, cue Emily. If Duck had taken Emily's place, the long-term fans would be a lot more pleased they hadn't disappeared, like other characters from around this time. Although without a female main character, Thomas would likely be known as a boys' show, and would eventually be called sexist, without any main female characters. If Oliver was the main supporting character, then this would also please fans. Not much else to say about him though. If Emily wasn't a main, in Series 8 she would have probably fallen into obscurity, but not quite as much as Arthur and Murdoch. Although I think she still would have appeared in CGI because she had quite a big introduction in Series 7. So the crew would have at least wanted to make her a main inside character. Spidey Fan Productions 2003 had a few. The first one was, what if Magic Railroad never happened? I covered this in part 1, so I'll leave a link in the description to that. The second one is, what if Series 6 and 7 had the same quality and tone as Series 5? These seasons would become a lot more popular, although if we jump from a series like Series 5 straight to Series 8, this would probably be a little bit disappointing. The third one was, what if Series 5 to 7 adapted Railway series stories? Series 5 wouldn't be so action-packed, although I would still love to have seen books such as Mountain Engines or Very Old Engines adapted for TV. Because of this, the show wouldn't really be its own thing, just an exact adaptation of the books. The fourth one was, what if Magic Railroad was something like The Adventure Begins? I think it would have been way too early to re-adapt the original stories just after Series 5, although seeing it from a cinematic perspective, it would have been great. This probably would have been more successful than Magic Railroad, because it would actually be a Thomas movie instead of a Shining Time movie with a bit of Thomas on top. The fifth one is, what if Michael Donnell and Junior Campbell composed Series 8 to 24? If this happened, then Thomas wouldn't likely have a dull piece of music. The character themes would still have adapted as the show went on, as they were doing already. Oscar Camboris, sorry if I butcher that, said that what if Jack and the Pack had some form of a crossover with Bob the Builder? I don't really think this would work too well, because the machines from Bob the Builder look very different from the machines from Jack and the Pack, and I'm not too sure how well they would scale next to each other if we're still doing this with TV props. But they could have done this, maybe with CGI or something, and that would be very cool to see. Maybe the story would be on some job on Sodor that the Pack couldn't do alone, so Miss Jenny had to call in Bob and the Can-Do crew to work together maybe? Preston Productions asked, what if The Great Discovery was such a perfect Thomas film that it got a sequel? I'm not completely sure what it would be about. Maybe something to do with the old tramways, or maybe Hero of the Rails could have just been reworked into a sequel to The Great Discovery. They were originally intended to be just one movie. The movie would probably follow a similar production story as Hero of the Rails. It wouldn't be narrated by Pierce Brosnan because he left the show in 2008, before he recorded Hero of the Rails. So it would be narrated by Michael Angelis in the UK and Michael Brandon in the US. If it followed the same production history of Hero of the Rails, then it likely would have been filmed in full CGI, so already the film wouldn't be as good. Something that made The Great Discovery so great was the amount of characters. Because of the switch to CGI, the crew didn't have enough time to make every character in CGI. But if the sequel to The Great Discovery was delayed so that we could have every character, then the movie would have been an even better to the start to the CGI series that Hero of the Rails was, with the increased cast. This movie wouldn't have done as well, but it still would have been nice to see. J-Shock had two. The first was, what if Lyric Studios' Linus Group, the creator of Barney, got the rights to a Railway series adaptation in 1992? If this happened, it would be a lot more childish. Thomas was already 3 series in by 1992, and fans probably wouldn't have liked the new format, especially Audrey. The second one was, what if Christopher Audrey became a consultant for the show after Series 5? Thomas would have stayed more realistic, especially in the hit era. More of Chris's stories may have been adapted, which would have been great. I would love to have seen Thomas and the Great Railway Show adapted for TV. Ken Channel asked, what if the hit era never ended, but it was just refurbished like what Andrew Bennett did to CGI Thomas? The show would have still switched to CGI because of budget cuts and everything, which is what ended it in the first place. I'm not completely sure what this would involve, but it must have been better than the Night Vision era. And that is all we have time for today. If your comment wasn't featured, again, please don't feel like I'm ignoring you. There are just a lot to get through, and my phone isn't capable of doing longer videos for storage reasons. It will be featured in a later video. I want to thank all of you for watching, see you in the next video, and goodbye for now.